Welcome back to Prep Rally. This is the special playoff edition of Prep Rally. Rick's wearing the Arkansas State Red Wolves, supporting the Red Wolves. I guess that's okay. Got a little blue and black going on, but who am I to give a fashion statement?
Yeah, so, Arkansas is going through some transition. I'm going to Arkansas State where I graduated. They're at least solid, so, hey, I like all the universities here in Arkansas.
Absolutely, absolutely. So, Rick, we had some great football action last week, week 10. You and I were over at Centerton. We got there a little bit, right about 5 o'clock for our live show that we did. There was already a line of people to get in that game.
All the way around.
It was a great atmosphere. It's the first time that Bentonville has made that drive over to Centerton to Bentonville West. And, Rick, the game wasn't as good as we thought it was going to be, but it was still a good game. Bentonville won it 30-7 to lock down a 10-0 season and the number 1 seed from the 7A West Conference. But the atmosphere was great, and that rivalry seems to have just really, you talk about your north side and south side, and you got, this and that. West and Bentonville has just quickly jumped into that level of intensity and rivalry.
It's the newest rivalry, and it's undoubtedly the biggest rivalry up here. You said it's the first time they've ever been over to Centerton. You know what hadn't changed? Bentonville still wins the game.
They're still. I believe that's 4-0. So is it a rivalry if the other team has never won a game?
Just look at the crowd right there.
Okay, all right.
That's it's going to take them a while to finally, beat the more established team. But no, it is a rivalry. Like we was there and snake all the way around the field. The fans were there. The fans were into it. Even the West fans were into it to at least halftime. Then they started slowly leaving. Man, it's too cold to watch that. But it was a good game for a while. But, man, Bentonville was so solid all the way across. West is not a bad team.
No, they're not.
I wouldn't doubt if they win a game or two in the playoffs. But Bentonville they're number 2. And it's almost like if Bryant's 1, they're 1A. Offense, defense, special team, the field goal kicker. What was that? 43, just drilled it. 43-yard field goal?
Yep.
Defense, one of the highlights for me is when a West defender got behind Kobe Crawford. Kobe Crawford had the speed to catch up, and then boom, laid it on him.
You want me to demonstrate on Rick? Can I kind of show you?
Yeah, you can do that. It wasn't nothing cheap about it. It was a good, solid hit. The kid would have caught the ball for about a 50-yard game, but Crawford just laid into him.
He brought that wood, Rick. He brought that wood.
He brought that wood. But a hell of a hit. Can I say hell? Yeah, a heck of a hit. Now, a hell of a hit, and it was a good game, but Bentonville was still the dominant in that series.
They were. So they are the number 1 seed from the 7A West. Of course, both teams will get a bye in the first round. Mm-hmm. West gets a bye. Bentonville gets a bye. But the big thing about the win for West is, for Bentonville is they get home field advantage through the semifinals of the playoffs, and that's huge. For teams to have to make that long trip, even though it's interstate, still a long trip up all the way up to the very corner of the state up to Bentonville. So that's a huge advantage for Bentonville. That's like I said, they checked off all these boxes the other night. They checked off an undefeated season. They checked off number 1. They checked off buys in the first, bye. They checked off home field advantage. And they checked off, we get bragging rights for the next year.
For the
whole year.
365 or leap year 366.
That's right. So that's a lot of check marks that they got the other night. So we had some other games in the 7A West that were big. Harbor went down to Fayetteville looking to wrap up the number 3 seed. Now, they were also both going to host a first-round playoff game, regardless of the outcome. But how about Harbor, Rick? They, riding that roller coaster this year, been up and down, up and down. Well, boy, they put it together against Fayetteville. Big win for them. Dominated that game.
I got to give props to the defense. We get infatuated with the spread offenses and all the big fancy plays, the touchdown. Go back to the season opener when Harbor gave up how many
84.
points? 84 points to Pulaski Academy.
Right.
And here they are in week 10, and they hold Fayetteville to 6 points.
Correct.
That's a heck of a turnaround for them.
Their defense has played very well. The thing with Harbor is they've had so many players that play a game, miss a game, play a game, miss a game. It's been hard for them to find that consistency. But they are going to go into the playoffs. They're going to host Little Rock Central, another surprise team, Rick. Now, this is no team in the state has more tradition than Little Rock Central.
Yep.
They've won 7,000 state championships, I think, or something like that. I think 30, something like that. But anyway, they've been a program that's been down for a while. They were like Rogers Heritage down for a while.
Now it's down.
And that's down.
That's
but they've
way
built
down.
it back up again, and Central's becoming more competitive. And football in this state, Rick, is going to be better when Central is good.
Yes.
And North Little Rock is good. We want these teams to be really good and the playoff games to be really good. And so the football in the state's better when Central's better.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
it brings a lot of excitement. So anyway, Central's coming up. But Harbor's kind of on a roll. Good performance last week. They should be able to build upon that. Harbor has the talent, Rick. They could make a deep playoff run. They do have that talent. They just haven't been able to get that consistency. If they could somehow be consistent over the next 4 weeks, they could be in Little Rock playing. I'm telling you, they have that kind of talent.
It's good. Like you said, they miss a player here and miss a player there. This guy's injured. They had a couple of kids had a game suspension or something.
Yep.
But right now it seemed like they got it rolling. I was extremely impressed with that 27-6 win.
Good win for them. Now, Rick, down in the River Valley, a little bit of a sadness here. North side, south
That's
side.
why I'm wearing black.
I got you. Although your black looks a little blue there, but that's
Oh,
okay.
okay.
Still dark.
Black and blue.
Morning colors.
Yeah.
We're in morning. North side, south side playing for the last time as conference rivals for at least 2 years. Now, maybe they might get that changed after 2 years. We'll see. But anyway, we've talked about this ad nauseum, how they're going to split the Fort Smith schools. South side's going to come to the west. North side's going to stay in the central. So this is the last time they're playing in the last game of the season, which has been a big tradition for them down there. Battle of Rogers Avenue, final game of the season. So they won't be doing that anymore. But North side won this last one. And, Rick, that was North side's 4th win in a row over South side.
Oh, it was. But didn't help them in the playoffs, though.
It didn't help in the playoffs. Well, that was their playoff, basically.
That was their playoff.
That
yeah,
was their
that's
playoff. So neither one are going to be in the playoffs, but a big win for Northside in that, final game. Well, next year, who knows? Maybe they'll play in the season opener. We don't know. We haven't seen the schedule yet, but they could play in the season opener.
You know what we saw? We saw the passing of the torch. I've always contended that North Side and South Side was the best rivalry in the state of Arkansas.
Exactly.
I've had people up here argue with me it was Fayetteville and Springdale because
For a long
playing.
time it was. Yeah, for a long time. It hasn't
they've
been
been
in a
playing
while,
for 180 years.
Right.
But I've been a part of that, and I love that. Two schools, one time, Rogers Avenue, right
one
there.
on one side.
One and
Kinda
the other on the other
sort of,
side.
yep.
But now that they're splitting, all the reason you said, I think the torch, you could probably, now that you're in shape and everything, you could have started at the north side and come all the way up to Bentonville West and Bentonville High. That's where the rivalry's at now.
Yes,
I
agree.
think.
I agree. So down in Class 4A, Rick, probably the best game of the week of Week 10, Shiloh, Pea Ridge. We talked about how good a game.
You picked
I almost
Pea Ridge.
picked it right. That's the story of my life almost. If I played hand grenades or horseshoes, I'd be pretty good.
Yeah.
But so it was close. Pea Ridge, Shiloh ended up winning this game 28-26. What a great game this was. Shiloh also, for the first time since 2006. Now, Rick, a lot of people may not know this. Shiloh won all those state championships, but they never went unbeaten in those years of 2008, 9, and 10.
I didn't know that.
They did not go undefeated. They went, last time they were undefeated in the regular season, 2006. But they completed a 10-0 season. They hung on, beat Pea Ridge. Listen, these are two good teams.
The value of research right here. You went and looked all that up. I could have swore they were 14-0 some years, but even when Malzahn was there, they never went unbeaten.
Well, this is before then. I'm just saying the last time was 2006.
Okay, all right, that makes sense. But now, I wasn't at that game. I read about it, and I picked out. I said, my good, 28-26. You was almost right there.
Close.
You was all, but Pea Ridge, a good team.
Both very, very good teams.
Shiloh's going to be amongst the favorites,
Yes,
and
they
there's
are.
some good teams.
But let
in
me
that
tell you,
division.
Pea Ridge will win some games in the playoffs because they're right there with them. Pea Ridge has 4 losses this year, Rick. 3 of them to 5A teams.
5A.
One of those, Harrison.
Yep, Harrison. Yep.
The 4th loss was to Shiloh, a team that's number 2 in some rankings. So, you look at their body of work and what they're able to do. Pea Ridge is going to make some noise in the playoffs.
Absolutely.
And they're hosting
And they've done it before.
Absolutely. So they're hosting a first-round playoff game this week. Shiloh will host a first-round playoff game. So 2 really good teams out of the 4A. So, Rick, in the 7A, Bryant, undefeated, 10-0. Bentonville, undefeated, 10-0. So they're the number 1 seeds from the Central and the West. North Little Rock, they've been kind of up and down, had injuries. They've had some suspensions, things like that. Well, they locked down the number 2 seed from the Central, and then West is the number 2 seed from the West. So 4 good teams there getting first-round byes, and they're going to sit back this first week, kind of heal up some bumps and bruises, get ready to play next week. I talked to Jody Grant about this after the game last week at West because last year Bentonville did get a first-round bye, and they did not play well when they're in their playoff game against Northside and got beat.
Hey, I remember the coaches that when I was covering the Fort Smith teams, a lot of coaches, they wanted to play right away while they had that momentum and everything. They're coming off the north side, south side battle of Rogers Avenue, and the winning team right there said, we don't want a week off. We want to go right into the playoffs.
Well, I talked to Jody about this after the game, and he said we will do things differently this year. That they learned from last year because they came out flat against Northside. Northside punched them in the mouth over and over again. Dominated that game.
Yep.
And so but you learn the most from losses. You do learn the most from losses. You learn about yourself, and you're shown things that you need to improve on. And you can bet that Bentonville took what they did last year and learned from that.
I know what they're going to do. They're going to go their man, Barry Lunny Jr.
They are.
And schedule a scrimmage.
With the Razorbacks.
You
know what? That would be a win-win. Absolutely.
That's a win. Everybody, I'm in on that.
See if you can get in on that.
Yeah.
That would be fantastic right there.
I know Barry Lunny Jr., and he'd say, what are you talking about? And he'd hang up on me.
And
that's all right.
It wouldn't be the first person who's ever hung up on me.
No, it happens a lot.
Absolutely. So that's it for this week's edition of Prep Rally. Don't forget, we'll have coverage of all the high school playoff games going on. We got a lot of teams in, and we'll be everywhere. Friday night, we'll have full coverage of all of that in the Saturday Northwest Arkansas Democrat-Gazette. Rick, you and I are going to be over at Harbor for the Apex Network Physical Therapy Game of the Week. Little Rock Central will be coming in over to Harbor, so that should be a good game. It's supposed to warm up a little bit. It's 18 degrees outside today, so hopefully it's going to warm up a little bit. I'm just not cut out for that cold weather.
Man, I live in Michigan, ready to go. I wish they was playing right now.
It's like a polar bear. There you go. So we will see you at the football field on Friday night. Don't forget, Rick and I will be at Harbor at 5:30 Friday night for Prep Rally Live.
Come on over.
Come join us. It's going to be a party. So come join us.